So welcome to our business school, Nita. It's truly wonderful to have you here, and thank you for sharing that video with us. We teach a course at the school called Authentic Leadership Development. One of the premises of that course is that who you are as a child and the childhood influences that you have a profound influence in your life and shape who you are as a leader. So talk to us a little bit about your childhood years. What were they like, and what influences have shaped your life?
Thank you, Nitin. But before I start, I just have to say something. Today in the morning, my 90-year-old mother got very emotional and called my two daughters-in-law, Shloka and Radhika, and said, when Nita was young, we couldn't afford to send her to Harvard, though she wanted to. But now, today, they have called her to speak at Harvard. So I just want to thank you all so much for making my mother so happy today. Well, about my childhood. I think my childhood was like a fairy tale. We lived in an ancestral home called Bapu Villa in the suburbs of Mumbai. We were 30 members living under the same roof. I think all my value systems were set during those times. I think respect to elders, honesty, hard work, tolerance, patience. We were 11 girls and 1 boy growing up together. And 62 years ago, my parents told us that whatever the boys can do, the girls could do too. And that has left a lasting impact in my life, in all the work that I do. While I was growing up, I was influenced by these incredible women in my family. My Gandhian grandmother, my courageous and extremely positive mother. All my aunts were great examples. Some of them were swimmers, some of them were teachers. And I just imbibed so much from them. But what I remember is the gentleness and the kindness and the compassionate nature of my father, Ravindra Bhai Dalal. Every Sunday, he used to take us all to do some seva or the other. Seva is service to society. And one of the sevas would be to rescue and save animals, whether it would be hens, roosters, or even goats from the local butchery. And I think that's where Anant got his love for animals and started the Vantara Rescue and Rehab Center. So that is what my childhood was all about.
Thank you for sharing that. Again, you've had, from those early days, an extraordinary life and an amazing set of achievements. Amongst all your achievements, what are the 3 that you feel the proudest of, and why?
As a teacher, I think my first priority was to raise my children well. And I think I've raised kind, compassionate children who are doing some wonderful things. So I'm very proud of Akash, Isha and Anand. But I must say that I'm also proud of the 75,000 children who have graduated from our schools. I think I had the privilege to shape in a small way their future. And I think, Nitin, you know what that joy is as a teacher when you see your children doing well and making a difference to the world all around. So I think that would be my first. My second would be building institutions. I've really enjoyed creating institutions which are timeless. The Dhirubhai Ambani International School, the Nita Ambani Junior School, and the 14 other schools that we run as a foundation. Mumbai Indians, the Reliance Foundation Hospital, which is now being ranked in 10 years as the foremost hospital of India, and of course, the Nita Ambani Cultural Center.
Did you have a third, or given all of those two, that's a perfect list?
Can I say a third?
Sure.
There's an initiative that's very close to my heart. It's called Swadesh, and I have a story to say. 8 years ago, I went to Nathdwara. Do people know where Nathdwara is? Yeah, it's a temple town in Rajasthan. Jai Shri Krishna. And I was. It's known for their Pichwai artists. In fact, yesterday I went to the museum and I saw some Pichwais and miniature paintings there. And I was interacting with these artists, and it really shook me up when they told me that they are giving up their art, an art that they'd learned under the feet of their father and grandfathers or even great-grandfathers, and taken up menial jobs like sewage cleaning, brick laying, because there was no sustenance in their art. That's where the seeds of Swadesh were sown in. And I think Swadesh is meant to spotlight our arts and artisans. India has more than 10 million artisans in the country. And I think Swadesh is trying to market their products. And I'm very happy to say that we are soon launching a Swadesh store in New York and London.
Describing the things that you feel so proud of, you truly have built some of India's finest institutions. The best school in the country, Dhirubhai Ambani School. I sometimes, our children, we were very lucky to send our children to amazing schools in the US, like our daughter went to Windsor, our other daughter went to Andover. These are 100-year-old institutions, and yet in 20 years you've built one of the truly great schools in the world. And in the same way, we came to this country, we saw all of these amazing sports teams in this country. We're in a sports town. Boston is known for the Celtics, the Patriots. Indian sport leagues are such a new thing, and yet you've made the Mumbai Indians into an extraordinary institution. And now you've built like the Lincoln Center, the Nita Ambani Cultural Center. What does it take to build institutions of such exceptional caliber so quickly?
I think passion and purpose. I just love what I do. I think there's magic in it. I think I have a clear vision and then go ahead and execute it. I think I can give an example for the school. We launched the school 23 years ago. And I had my father-in-law's very dear friend, Mr. Murli Devra, coming to have a look at the school. And he said, "Congratulations, Nita, you've done a great job. But who's going to come to the school? It is neither ICSC or CBSE or SSC. And it's in middle of nowhere. BKC was a barren land at that time. And in contrast to, people know BKC, it's Bandra Kurla complex. So it was It was where cows and sheep would graze, in total contrast to what it is today. But I had a clear-cut vision that I wanted to bring the international curriculum to India. So we launched Telugu Ambani International School with the IB curriculum. And I must say that now there are hundreds of IB schools in India, and as they rightly say, institutions lead to more institutions, and leaders give birth to more leaders. And today I'm so proud to say that not only is Telugu Ambani International School ranked the first international school in India, but it's ranked the top 12 international schools in the world.
So let's move from your school to what seemed to get the loudest applause in the room, which was cricket. So, how did you get involved in cricket, Nita? And from that, how have you made Mumbai Indians one of the most successful teams?
This answer is going to be a little long, is that okay?
Everybody else?
I love cricket. Well, cricket entered my life at the age of 44, when most sports people retire from sports. Mukesh had bought this team, Mumbai Indians, and it had all the big stars in it. And yet we were at the bottom of the table. I can see Ashish Chauhan right here. He knows this. So they were playing in South Africa, and I went there just to motivate the team. I said, they're doing so badly, and someone needs to be there saying, it's okay. And so I landed in Cape Town. That's where we were playing at that time. And I decided to sit in the dugout with all the players. I don't know why I had this strange idea that I should sit there. So next to me was the legend Sachin Tendulkar. And on the other side was Zaheer Khan. And I was watching this match, and then I just couldn't. I'm a very curious person, and I can't stop asking questions. So I looked at Sachin and said, please tell me, why is this bowler taking such a long run-up, and why is this bowler taking such a short run-up? So he had to tell me that one is a pacer and one is a spinner. I felt so idiotic at that time to ask all these questions. But today I'm going to show off. I know a leg spin, I know a off spin, I know a wrist spin, I know a googly, I know a short ball. I know exactly where the ball is going to hit and what the batsman is going to do with that. And that's what cricket has done to me. It has brought this extreme love for sport in my life. Another thing we do well at Mumbai Indians is that we call ourselves one family. So the year I took over, in 2010, we started with a Born to Win camp, where everybody came together and we were talking about how the team comes before self and how are we going to do that, because we had so many stalwarts in our team and everybody had to share a room. So my son Akash got to share a room with a cricketer called Ambati Raidu. So I think this feeling of one family was inculcated since then. So, and I have to tell you, my stories in cricket never can finish. So I have another story to tell you in this, is that if anybody had followed the Sydney test and know about the monkey gate incidents between Harbhajan Singh and Andrew Simons. Does anybody know about it? Yes. So it happened that Harbhajan said something in Punjabi, which Andrew Simons heard as monkey.
Anything you say in Punjabi sounds like monkey. I'm a Punjabi myself, by the way.
And a huge controversy erupted at that time. It was called the Monkey Gate, and there were so many press releases, etc., happening at that time. Now, as luck would have had it, we had Harbhajan and Andrew playing for us for Mumbai Indians. So, in that bonding session, we had all of them together, and they sat and cleared out their differences, shook hands, hugged each other, and became friends. And not only did they play together, but we won our first championship that day, that time, with Harbhajan and Andrew Simons, both just.
You claim that happens in American politics, but that is too much to wish for. So, after the extraordinary success you've had with the Mumbai Indians, how did you go about and make cricket an Olympic sport?
I have one more.
You have another story to tell? This is like a...
Can I? My story.
It looks like
One more story.
So what do you think? Another story about the Mumbai Indians?
So in IPL, we all have a fixed budget. So every team can spend X amount of money. So we had to think about new ways of getting talent. I mean, we couldn't only get the big names. So that's when I thought that we should encourage new talent in Mumbai Indians. So I remember scouting for talent, and I used to go for every Ranji Trophy match where there were just 2 crows sitting in the audience. And, my scouts and me would go to all these domestic cricket matches. And one day, our scouts got 2 young, lanky, thin boys to the camp. I was talking to them, and they said that for 3 years, they've eaten nothing but Maggi noodles because they've had no money. But in them, I saw the spirit, the passion that they want, and the hunger that they wanted to make it big. Those 2 brothers were Hardik and Krunal Pandya. In 2015, I bought Hardik Pandya at $10,000 US in the auction. And today, he's a proud captain of Mumbai Indians. The next year, our scouts got in one young cricketer with a odd body language, and they say, watch him bowl. We watched him. He could just speak to the ball. Another legend, Dasit Malinga, and me both were watching him. And he said, Mrs. Ambani, you need to watch out for him. That was our Bumrah. They say, rest is history. This year, last year we launched Tilak Verma, and now he's a proud member of Team India. So I think Mumbai Indians is rightfully called the nursery of cricket in India.
Maybe for that story it's truly worth it because, someone who really loves leadership, I've always said that identifying them young and seeing who the next generation of talent is, if you can do that, then that's the best way to build an extraordinary institution. And really, it looks like that's one of the secrets that you have been able to, that has made Mumbai Indians what it is too. So, I was surprised when I came to this country that at some point baseball, that is of course the national pastime in this country, had become an Olympic sport. And I used to wonder, will there be a day when cricket will become an Olympic sport as well? And you have made that happen. How did you make cricket an Olympic sport?
I got elected into International Olympic Committee in 2016. And there I saw a lot of new sports being introduced into Olympics, like skateboarding, squash. And I wondered to myself, we're getting all these sports into Olympics, but why not cricket? I mean, India is a sport-loving nation. For the Tokyo Olympics, the maximum viewership for the Olympic channel came from India. So imagine what would happen if we added cricket to it. So that's the time when my mind started ticking that how do I convince the committee members that, to have cricket as an Olympic sport. Now, they were still in the belief that cricket is a 5-day long cricket match that we used to have, the test matches. So it had evolved from 5 days to 1 day cricket, and now it is a T20 match, which is so exciting and gets over in 3 hours, and that's what all Olympic sports are about. So I think I informed them and then said this is only going to be a win-win situation if you have cricket as an Olympic sport, and you'll have the backing of probably 2 billion people, because that's the amount of people who watch cricket. So I think that is the plug that I used, and I'm so happy that now cricket will be an Olympic sport from Los Angeles.
So you didn't just stop at making cricket an Olympic sport. You're now on a mission to bring the Olympics to India. That's a big and audacious vision, to bring the Olympics to India. The Olympics have had a history of making a nation very proud, but at times it has also led to great financial hardships for nations. So how do you think about bringing the Olympics to India? How do you think about making it something that is a win for India rather than a financial burden?
Okay, first, let me answer your question why. So, I lead the bid for India to host the Olympics this year for 2036. I believe that India must have the Olympics. We are going to be the third largest economy in the world. And if you see, in the 10 largest economies of the world, 9 countries have hosted the Olympics. Only India has not. So I find that really odd. I think us Indians, with a population of 1.4 billion Indians, would wish to see Olympics being hosted in our country. It will be our pride to host them. So I think that is the reason I think the Prime Minister also mentioned that India will bid for the Olympics for 2036. Your second question was?
That, there's places like Greece, there's places like Brazil that hosted the Olympics with great pride and then ended up finding themselves in more financial difficulty than they imagined they would. So how do you make sure that we avoid that, even as we celebrate bringing the Olympics to India?
I think first and foremost, I must say we all Indians are known to do frugal innovation. I think we are planning to host a sustainable Olympics where we are planning to refurbish, reuse our existing stadiums, our existing campuses. And I think we are also we will be the greenest Olympics ever. If we bid for it and get it, I assure you that we will be the greenest Olympics ever. And by way of housing, we'll make that housing for our athletes and then sell it as affordable housing for the people of India. So I think India is at the right time now to host the Olympic with 50% of our population under the age of 30.
That's great. It would be amazing to see the Olympics in India.
Fingers crossed. I hope all of you all back India's bid.
So, tell us a little bit about the inspiration for the Nita Ambani Cultural Center. How did that idea come to your mind, and what was the inspiration for it?
I started dancing at the age of 6. Dance was my passion, it was my connection to divinity. I would stay on at my guru's house long after dance classes were over and practice endlessly. I think when it came to the time of my, we do our Arangetram. Do people know what an Arangetram is? Yes. So that's a debut performance for the first time. And my parents and me went around scouting for places to hold my Arangetram. Unfortunately, my parents couldn't afford to have a hall to perform. So I performed Arangetram in a small mandir in Matunga. People know Matunga? Yes. That's where all the dance classes are. And I think at that time, we artists sat down to think, what would it be if there were spaces for young, amateur artists and artisans in our country? So I think those were the very early seeds that are sown into my life. Then when the children were growing up, I was taking them to various Broadways and the Sydney Opera House, etc. And I said, we need to have something like this in our country, which will talk about our rich culture and heritage and legacy that we have all inherited. And that is how I think the Nita Ambani Cultural Center was born. It was meant to bring the best of India to the world and bring the best of the world to India. And I'm proud to say that till now, in 18 months, we've already had 2 million visitors, not only from India, but from around the world to our cultural center. I want to mention one thing, is that we are doing a Nita Ambani Cultural Center weekend at the LinkedIn Center in New York, bringing civilization to nation to the United States of America, accompanied by a fashion show of Swadesh. So, if you have the time, please do visit the LinkedIn Center in September to see the rich heritage of our country.
That's amazing. So, I had the great privilege, and thank you for the invitation. We came to this amazing wedding that you organized. And it's not often that weddings get written up in the New York Times, and there were 3 different articles of this wedding in the New York Times. I was at one point thinking that the last time I remember these many articles in the New York Times about a wedding, it was when Princess Diana had her wedding. So this was a pretty extraordinary thing that this wedding got the kind of global attention it got. And so tell us a little bit about what was your vision for this wedding? What motivated you to do this wedding? How did you do a wedding of this scale and grandeur?
Look, I just think that every parent wants to give their best for their children's wedding. And I did that too. Anant is my youngest child. And he's very, very religious and deeply rooted in spirituality. He has fought obesity throughout his life. And yet being so positive. And there he meets his life partner, Radhika. You just have to see them together. They are magic. And I wanted to create something really magical for them. But before I go to that wedding, I must say my daughter Isha is here, and I think I worked very hard for your wedding too.
This is a public apology, by the way.
But those were the times when there was no social media. Social media was not. Now with social media, everything travels so fast. So that's the difference. Coming back to Anand's wedding, I wanted to bring our traditions, our culture, center stage. I studied the Hindu weddings, Hindu chants, and all the things that we have to do in a traditional way. For the wedding, my mother-in-law and my mother, both who are over 90, was so emotional and so overjoyed that we did everything that Sanatan Dharma would do for a wedding. But I must tell you that I enjoyed the wedding thoroughly. Every moment of it, it was so joyful. It was what dreams are made of. I've made such cherished memories. And weddings in India are not just between 2 people. It's for the entire family. I mean, the entire family comes together for the wedding. And
yeah, the whole world came together.
I will say Vasudeva Kutumbakam. So, I wanted to bring Indian art, Indian artisans, center stage. So I traveled the length and breadth of our country. And I think it became such an adventure, I cannot tell you. I met such incredible people, such incredible women. The bandhani workers, the patola workers who were weaving these beautiful saris. I went to Banaras and had street food. I mean, the most amazing Banarasi chaat that you could ever have. And brought it all back to Bombay for our guests to experience it. And I'm so glad that you say that it brought the spotlight on the wedding, because indirectly it brought the spotlight on our culture, our traditions, our heritage, and our arts and artisans. So actually, thank you for asking me this question.
That's wonderful. So, You have been such an important part of the Reliance story as a whole, and you've had the opportunity to witness two of India's greatest business people at very close quarters. Your father-in-law, Nita Ambani, and your husband, Mukesh Ambani. Can you share one quality from each that have made Reliance what it is?
Well, with my father-in-law, I've had most of my learnings come from him. I was just married in 1985, and Papa got a stroke, and he was paralyzed. He was in his early 50s, and we had to take him to the US for his rehab. And I was a young girl then, and I was there with him when we took him on a wheelchair into the plane. And he told me, "Nita, come here," close to me. I went and said, "Yes, Papa." He said, "Today I'm going to the US in a wheelchair. But remember, when I come back, I'll be walking on my own without even a walking stick." And that's what he did. That shows his iron will and his determination. From Mukesh, he has the same vision as his father, the same zeal and enthusiasm. He thinks far ahead of his times. I remember when we were setting up Infocom years ago. He's a chemical engineer, but he read up all books on information technology. And that's how he launched the Infocom business in India many years ago. Even today, when he exercises in the morning, he would watch podcasts and anything on artificial intelligence or any new technology that the world is developing. And he's a great visionary with great execution skills. And he does everything and then dedicates it to his father. So I think Mukesh has been my best life partner. He motivates me. He tries to get me out of my comfort zone and says, "Yes, you can do it. If you think about it, you'll be able to do it as long as you're true to yourself." And I think, as I said, I'm really blessed to have Mukesh as my life partner.
People experience someone like you, they often have this view that given all the success that you've had, you must not have gone through tough times. But all leaders, in my experience, go through some tough times. Can you share a moment with us where you've gone through some tough times and how you might have dealt with it?
So it was very early on in my marriage. We were married and it was my first birthday after my marriage. And I went to a store called Tribhuvandas Bhimji Jewelers. People know about it? Yeah. And I bought a gold chain for myself. Saying, Mukesh is not known for giving gifts. So I decided to give myself. So I bought this gold chain and brought it home and showed it to Mukesh. Mukesh looked at me and said, "Nita, I don't think we can afford it." Reliance is going through really tough times and we need to pay all our employees first. So it would be nice if you can return this gold chain. As a young bride, I was so embarrassed to go back to the store and return the gold chain, but I did that without questioning Mukesh. And I told him, I'm sure good times will come and you will turn around the situation. And he did. But I also have to tell you one thing that I learned from this is that adversities should make you a better person and not a bitter person. And that, I think, is a great learning for me.
I will remember that a long time. Adversity should make you a better person rather than a bitter person. Even as a professor of leadership, you can learn a lot about leadership every day. So let me, from that moving story of these difficult times, now you and your family have, as you said, Mukesh turned it around. You are now blessed with extraordinary wealth. So, in your view, what is the role of money in life, and how important is money to happiness?
Well, in our Hindu culture, we call wealth Lakshmi, and we worship it. But look, we all need money. Yeah, so I have a story here to say. My father fell critically ill and needed to be in the ICU. And he was in the ICU for a very long time. And my mother could not afford to pay the bills any further. So she came to me very hesitatingly, because to ask anybody anything from your daughter is not done in the Hindu society. I absolutely don't subscribe to this view at all. I think daughters and sons both are equal. And she told me, we are having a hard time keeping Papa in the ICU. And that's the time I realized the importance of money. I made an ICU at Antilia for my father, saw that he spent the last few years of his life comfortably at home in the loving care of his wife, his daughters and his grandchildren. All of them remember Nana. And I think that's what any child would like to do for their parents. So here I feel there is the importance to money. And also with those resources, it was after I had seen the other side of the story, Papa, that we set up the Reliance Foundation Hospital. And it's with the resources now that I could set up all the schools and the Nita Ambani Cultural Center. So wealth is required to do service to society, to do seva, to build institutions. But having said that, I think Mukesh and me still find joy in the simple pleasures of life. I love Mukesh taking me on a drive with all the Bollywood songs. I love to eat street food, bhel puri at Aid Road, pan ki at Swati. So I think these are simple pleasures, and love spending time with my most adorable 4 grandchildren. So I hope that answers your question.
So now we saw this at the Olympics, and we've seen this in so many other settings, and here we're in a conference about India. In many ways, you have now really become an ambassador for our country. So I'm here at the Harvard Business School, where one of the first things we teach our students is how to do a SWOT analysis. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So maybe it's a fitting way to think about ending this conference to have you do a SWOT analysis of India.
Give me a moment. So I think our strength is our youth. 50% of our population is under the age of 30, and our Indian diaspora. I think that's our strength.
Weakness?
Weakness. I think the 200 or 300 million people whose life we need to change were lying at the bottom. And I think that should be our priority, and we should be able to sort this out in the next decade.
And the greatest opportunity that you see for the country?
Adoption of technology at scale. So whether it is artificial intelligence, green energy, genomics, I think that's what India will do.
And here, in some ways, the strength of the country, which is the young people, might very well be one of the reasons why we can do it on a scale that nobody else might be able to do. So it's a real opportunity. And it's not good usually to end on a bad note, but what is the greatest threat that you see for our country?
I speak as a mother here. I think we need peace. We need peace in the world. Only if there is peace will countries grow and prosper. And so that holds true for even India. So I think wars do no good, and I would think that is a threat.
Thank you. This brings us full circle, because if you recall, your mother said that you should have studied at Harvard Business School, and now you have passed the most important test that we give at Harvard Business School. To complete a SWOT analysis. So, before we end though, we're going to have some fun. Is that okay?
When you have me here on the spot and on the chair, what do I say?
So, just a series of rapid fire questions. And here you have to be really quick. Rapid fire means rapid fire, Nita, okay? So, Bollywood or Hollywood?
Bollywood.
Harvard or Stanford?
Oh my gosh. My son-in-law is from Harvard, and my daughter is from Stanford, and so is my husband from Stanford. What do I say?
Okay, I'll let you on. So, youth or experience?
Youth.
Sachin or Virat?
The god of cricket, Sachin Tendulkar.
Tradition or innovation?
Innovation.
What's your fondest memory?
The births of my twins, Akash and Isha, 33 years ago.
Your indulgence?
Jewelry.
Collecting jewelry.
Bumrah or Kapil Dev?
Bumrah, boom, boom, Bumrah.
Strategy or execution?
Execution.
Your favorite Bollywood star?
I'm not that young. I think I grew up on films by Amitabh Bachchan.
Ranveer or Ranveer?
Ranveer, because my son will be very happy. Ranveer is his best friend. So Ranveer Kapoor.
Okay, so if you choose Ranveer Kapoor, would you rather have dinner with Ranveer Kapoor or with Bill Gates?
Ranveer Kapoor.
I'm gonna have to tell Bill Gates. So, social media, do you think in general social media is more for good or more for bad?
More for good. I've learned so many things being on social media which I wouldn't have learned otherwise.
I agree with you actually. So, your favorite highlight from your son's extraordinary wedding?
The temple night. We created 21 temples of India, and we had around about 500 chanters chanting. And in that moment, I felt the divine energy as my daughter-in-law Radhika walked up and was hugged by my son Anant. I think that is my most cherished memory of the wedding.
From there, your favorite fashion designer?
I'm old-fashioned, Oscar de la Renta.
Your favorite global luxury brand?
Oh, Hermes.
And the last one. Prime Minister Modi or Mukesh Ambani?
I think Prime Minister Modi ji is good for the nation, and my husband Mukesh is good for my home.
Thank you so much for making the time to be with us today and for sharing this stage with us at Harvard. I am truly grateful to you for taking this time. And